Science. Paranormal. Drinks. Three tortured souls. Entertain, educate, recreate, and intoxicate.
I don't care what anybody says. We got the coolest fucking taglines ever.
We
It's been
do.
years in the making.
It was lots of intoxicate. Hey, Robert. See Robert's in there.
Nice.
Miss
Red
Red
Man.
Man. That's
Nice.
All right. How you guys doing?
Good. Oh, look,
Good.
Cat Ward's here.
Yeah.
Damn.
Super nerds. I like that.
That's right. Nerds.
Nerds.
Well, I think I'm going to have a good time with this topic. I'm going to have to like really kind of keep it calm though. But when do I ever? Thanks, Kenny. He got me like all jacked up again at the beginning. We're not really going to talk about that person, I guess. But it's good.
No punches. Just went right for the jugular.
Yeah,
Shows one picture and it's all freaking downhill from there.
it was a world-renowned professional debunker.
And psychic.
Yeah. Well, so for tonight's show, if you haven't seen, we're going to vent some paranormal pet peeves, frustrations that we've had. Hey, Bob. Speaking of
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
damn it,
Frustrations.
Bob. Yeah, I at first I kind of thought about doing the whole UFO kind of thing where the disclosure just happened, but I don't really think it was much of a disclosure, and kind of the more I watched it, Kenny made a really good reference. I think Dave did too. It's they said a whole lot of nothing, so
Yeah.
it would have been a 15-minute show, and I thought, well, that kind of
I mean,
frustrates me.
that can be our first pet peeve, honestly.
That's what made me think about it was
Yeah. It's just there was nothing new, nothing was revealed. Like that was the promise that we were going to get some disclosure, and I'm getting sick of that fucking word now because it's just it's overused. It's like energy. It's just overused, and we were waiting for something to happen. I wasted 2.5 hours of my life watching this, and absolutely nothing new was revealed, and all they did was recycle old shit. And honestly, I mean, I don't like politicians anyway, so I'm just voicing my bias right there. But the one guy that's I forget his name. Oh, I have it. Wait, I wrote him down. Burchett. Mr. Burchett. He was one of the people on the panel, not the three witnesses or whistleblowers or whatever. He was on the panel. I don't know what he is, but he was annoying as fuck. I could not stand him. And I thought he was one of them people, when you see these people like they're up on like a pedestal of authority and they're talking to you as if like you're an idiot when they have no idea what they're talking about, but they got that smirk on their face. Like, I'm going to say something like I'm going to knock you off your ass because I'm going to say something smart. And they say something really
Is he talking
stupid.
about the picture of the guy we were talking about, or did he move on to UFOs? Sorry, I was confused there.
Hey,
Sorry.
both apply.
don't make fun of me. Don't make fun of the host.
Is this thing on? Hello?
But anyway, that's my. I'm just. I aired my pet peeve about that. That was just a waste of fucking time.
What was the phrase he used that I think we all kind of caught on? Was the non-human
Biologicals.
Yeah.
Entity.
biologics? Yeah.
Biologic. Yeah. It's because
So
they
it's
don't
a
want to say
dog.
alien.
So there's a lot of non-human biologics floating around.
Isn't that my dog?
That's my cat.
Yeah. Okay. See,
All right.
you know what? This is perfect. We're gonna actually talk
Jellyfish.
about this shit anyway.
It is, isn't it?
Here we go. But that's it. Like the wording on this stuff. When you use non-human biologic, like you could be talking about pets or any animals, anything that's not human that's alive. So that
Yep.
you get the idea, you get the impression
Yes.
that they're saying, you know, we're talking about aliens, wink, wink. But you could be talking about a freaking dog, and that's it. As for the guy in the middle, what's his name? Not Graves, Grush. Grush. I did not like him at all. I thought he was lying his ass off. That's my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was there for the attention. I just got that impression. Like every time, like everything was a big deal. And oh, was there like anybody murdered in this? I can't really say, but I can tell you in a closed room. How about that? That was my impression. You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that part was annoying as hell. It's like I'm coming here to tell you all this stuff, but we'll have to go in a room together so I can tell you.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I know where the
What are
aliens
you
are.
here for then?
I'm just not telling you.
Mm-hmm.
If I was that guy, I would have stood up and said, "Okay, let's go. Private room.
Private
Oh,
room.
and
Let's roll.
Call my office. Let's
The
go."
other thing was that he was the big thing with the whistleblower thing was that he describes finding a task force about UAP recovery and reverse engineering. But by their own definitions, it's just UAPs, the unidentified aerial phenomena. So they're finding stuff like maybe a Chinese balloon that they found. They weren't sure what it was. They shot it down. They recovered it. And now they're reverse engineering it to figure out what it does. That doesn't mean alien spacecraft. And reporting to your superiors, which is what he talked about. That's why he's a whistleblower. Reporting to your superiors what you found because you couldn't get access to the rest of the material that you wanted, and going, "Wah, you know, I can't read anymore. I'm not allowed to read anymore." That I don't understand what the big deal is. Like that's what you're supposed to do. If you were investigating this and you can't go any further, you report it to your superior. That's it. There's no need to blow it up out of proportion. You know, if you found a Chinese spy balloon that was piloted by a dog, that doesn't mean you have an alien spacecraft with an alien in it.
I did see someone had talked or mentioned about the Soviet Union dog that was put into orbit that never came back. And somebody was like, maybe the non-human biologics, or they found the dog floating around. Who knows?
That got me fired up.
There you go, Kenny.
So much wasted time.
It
No,
was.
it was.
Nothing to it.
I thought it was like, at first I thought this is gonna be a great show, and I started looking at it. I was going to look at clips and cut some clips, and I was like, this is
Bullshit.
This is a 15-minute show tops. This is just terrible. So I was like, this is terrible. And why don't we just talk about everything else we hate? So that's definitely one off the list.
We know stuff. We have information. We know where they are, but we can't tell you.
You know, it's not lost on me that the position of authority being used to make implications, or you know, to make people think, you know, that they have something. And I'm like, just because you're sitting in that seat doesn't mean you have any answers other than what you're told or what you think. I don't even understand like why they came out with it and talked about it in the first place. But you know, just using that position of authority, that's on my pet peeve as well, especially people, you know, going in to do investigations and they have science all over their shirt, you know, and they go in with the very expensive Pelican cases and all the cables running out to their van. You know, it's just using your position, it's using expensive things to make you look more professional.
At least the
Just-
Pelican
yeah.
cases are doing what they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's about it. Everything else,
Yeah,
nope.
there's
No.
a lot that comes from that. We're science-based
Yeah.
approach. They
Yeah.
think they are, but what do you? If you ask them, what are you really doing that's science-based? What are the responses you get? Well, we take environmental readings of what? Well, you know, temperature and EMF. Yeah, and what do you do with it? Well, we'll see if it changes. How?
Right.
Okay, so you walked around and it changed. How do you know it's a real change? Because we did a baseline, we ruled out everything else.
Oh, you both had the same
The
one.
baseline.
There it
So,
is.
I mean, again, their idea of science is, I think a lot of ones that promote themselves as science-based, when you dig into it, they're confusing science with walking around with a piece of equipment,
Yes.
which is, I mean, come on, we can tie an EMF meter to my dogs. They're not doing science. They're wandering around, maybe collecting some data. Who knows? It's just there's a lot more to it than just saying you're science-based.
Right.
I'm not even going to
And
say
it's
I'm
rampant
science.
everywhere.
Yeah, I like to do, like the things that we're getting ready to do. I like to joke around. I mean, we're testing things, but is it science? I don't know if it's actual science or not, but it's fun.
It's at least citizen science. I mean,
Yeah.
you're putting something together, you're testing it. Same thing with what Kat Ward is trying to do with her project. I mean, at least people are trying to approach it with some sort of methodology. There's a reason to it. There's going to be an analysis. There's going to be review. That's way more science than what we're hearing or seeing from some of these people that are self-proclaimed scientists.
Yeah, I'm under no delusion that I'm getting a Nobel Prize for paranormal experimentation anytime soon. I'm also under no delusion like that I'm nailing anything under any specific measurements or standards, but I also like doing it. And I took statistics.
Still more so than Tim.
Yes, I took 2 semesters of statistics. Doesn't make me a statistician, that's for sure.
He's going to bring that up forever.
Yeah, I love it.
It's just so much fun.
I love it. Doesn't bother me. I was terrible at stats.
He double majored in it. 2 semesters.
Might as well fail it twice, right off the bat.
It was close.
Well, a sample size of 1 isn't big enough, so you got to fail again to make sure it's consistent. It's a real result.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
All
you're
right.
right, Dave, though. You hit it. Like it's the equipment. It's the use of equipment and devices. And again, we've made a fun of that a lot, and rightly so. But it's things that beep, things that light up. If they can carry it around, if they can bring in a whole bunch of cameras, if they can bring in microphones and then all these other little gadgets, that I think is the tribal knowledge kind of impression of what science is for that general public. As in like the ghost hunting community where they see it and they're like, all right, we're doing science because we have all this gear. And it's more of a methodology. It's not the equipment, it's the methodology.
It's what you do with it and how you interpret it.
And when you're not doing anything with it, when you're going weekend to weekend to weekend and you're taking your readings, you're not logging anything, you're not recording anything, you are, as in like the data set, you're not recording any of the data, you're just going and seeing if there's a spike. Oh, that's a spike, great, we got something. And they think that's part of the science. We did our baseline, like you mentioned, for 5-10 minutes, maybe 15, 20, maybe, but still, when you get that kind of bump or that spike, it's like, oh yeah, look, we got something different. Well, like there's so many questions with that. That's not science. That's anomaly hunting. You're waiting for something to happen, and oh look, I'm not going to explain it. I'm just going to say paranormal.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be too hard. Honestly, I did the same thing easily for the first 5 or 6 years.
Sure.
We did.
I did. I certainly did. It just, I can literally, the Dr. Goss meter, for crying out loud, probably it's like $13.99, and I was walking around, holding it and listening to it click and hoping something would make it, move. But you did a baseline, and we just walked around the house, and I think it seemed like it was the right thing, and I think the concept of taking a baseline and having a baseline is right. It was just my execution of it was horrible. Walking around the house for a minute or two,
Right.
and calling a 1.5. 1.5 what? I don't know. It said 1.5. That's our baseline. 1.5 gigawatts. We're going back to the future.
We got something. Great Scott.
Yeah. All right.
All right. What else?
I have several. Oh,
I have several. I made a list of everything that you guys complained about.
Oh, good. Then you can lead us through the list, so I don't have to look it up.
do your first one.
So, and I went in order. I cleaned it up a little bit, just a little bit. But the scares or shocked faces on every single YouTube thumbnail
that's on mine.
Oh, come on.
Of a paranormal investigation. That was the
Painful, man.
best evidence we ever caught.
Oh, yeah.
I said that because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 exclamation points.
Yeah, that was mine.
I agree, though. Like
Yeah.
I watch more YouTube than I do regular TV now, just because I'm tired of regular TV. It's a lot of the same shit. So YouTube at least offers me a larger variety and really no filters. I can watch almost whatever I want. And yeah, I see they keep scrolling across my feed, like these faces, like
Looking off.
and yeah, best evidence, awesome evidence, best we ever got this year, stuff like that. And you click on it because I'm like, all right, let me see what the best evidence. I have my bar is very low,
right?
very very low. So if I'm bored, I click on it, watch it. I'm like, yep, nothing. And the worst thing is, like, if you click on it in the first 5 seconds, if it's not a commercial, the first 5 seconds, did you see that orb? Nope. Click.
Nope.
Next.
Ouch.
Done. Yeah. So that's my.
I'm going to open.
Go ahead.
I'm going to open with probably my most. It's more than a pet peeve. It kind of pisses me off, and that's grief vampires.
Oh.
And those are. I don't like people that sell equipment. I don't like people that want to promise that they can have the last message to their lost loved one, their last person, promising that they can receive messages from someone that maybe they didn't get a chance to hear from before they pass. I don't like people that I'm not even going to say that word, but very popular people that after the deaths of famous people want to yes.
What?
Want to jump on, and say that they're getting messages from, the death
Right.
of these people. It absolutely, I can't dwell on it because it does make me very angry. I don't like that promise. That's not a good promise. That is really disrespectful and damaging to people that have lost someone, that you would, have the absolute gall, the absolute absurdity to tell them that you can get a message from that person that they lost, mom, dad, spouse, child, whatever. That is absolutely heinous. It is so brutal. I just can't, I'm trying not to cuss, but it's
let it flow.
the disrespect.
Dark side flow through your veins.
I would use a red lightsaber and cut these fuckers down.
Oh, here we go. Let your hatred flow.
I really hate it. And then if that's not bad enough, then you still have people that will tag people along. You know, they'll keep leading them. You know, come back for more, come back for more. And I think I don't want to call it an addiction, but I think once you truly believe as a person that is in grief and not having closure, that you become at least attached, if not somewhat addicted, to thinking that you're hearing from someone that you absolutely love that passed on. I kind of wish, and I don't know how you would do it, but it just seems at some point, other than financial loss, that could be some type of a criminal offense for emotional, I don't know, abuse, psychological manipulation or abuse to get you out of your money. Yeah,
I think it's extremely difficult in those situations if the medium that's doing this does have the disclaimer of, you know, for entertainment purposes only, even if they, you know, get a client in and they're like, you know, I have to put that on there by law, you know, and that's a a tactic to disarm the client, because you're saying it in such a manner, like when they come in and say, well, this, you know, this is supposed to be for entertainment, and the medium in the store is going, yeah, you know what, they make me put that on there, don't worry about that, you know, just come on in and sit down. And it's very casual, and you get that sense of, you know, it's just because I have to do it, it doesn't really apply to me. And you sit down and you have what you were mentioning, like you're talking about, and I think we talked about it before, about it almost being an addiction, because you have this idea that I can talk to my loved one, and you start depending on that. And your dependence is costing you a lot of money, because it's definitely not cheap to do this, you know. And I think that's the biggest harm. I don't know what else. I don't know how else you could go about like trying to get money back or criminal charges, because I don't think it's mostly the buyer beware kind of thing. Like, you knew going in, you saw the sign going in, and it's up to them. And it kind of falls on the people like us to help educate and say, look, you know, maybe you ask these questions, ask these other questions, you know, what's the track record? Is it true? Record that session, and, you know, take it to somebody that can help you analyze it and see if they really did predict or tell you things you didn't know, or did you give them the information? And I think that's help. I don't want to be too mad about this, because I know I'll go off and I'll start dropping F-bombs all over the place. So I'm trying to be nice and offer suggestions instead. And that's my best advice. Like, just second guess it, you know, and record it. Definitely record it. And if they don't let you record it, then I would refuse. I would just, you know, say, all right, thank you for your time, I'm going to go somewhere else. At the very least, because that tells me like something's up. They're not letting you record it. What are they hiding? So
yeah, that's just, it's a whole different level of cruelty, I think, to do to somebody else. And you're right. I fully understand and can appreciate, you know, the buyer beware kind of thing. You know, it's just, it's a hard thing to cross, to know that people are doing that to other people, for me.
But I will also comment too about your earlier version about somebody that hops online and does a monetized video every time a celebrity passes away. That's just straight up exploitation. I don't see any other way to explain that.
Pretty bad.
It's a better word. Yeah.
Let me hashtag that celebrity that just died, because, you know, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people easily are looking them up because they want to see what happened and what's the story, all that. And they're going to find your site and go, oh, let's look, you know, they're talking to them. And even that person that we are all talking about, we all know who you're talking about. But that was a nice.
We all know.
Damn, we all know. That totally lost my thought. Damn it, Dave.
Damn it, Dave. Damn it, Bob.
Damn it.
I totally lost what I was going.
Well, I have a question that I'll throw out to you guys. Like, who would be more dangerous? The person that knows that they don't have this power to talk to somebody from the other side and charge people for messages, or the person that believes that they have this power to do it and charge people. Like, what's more damaging? Like, who, like, what? Maybe that's a strange question, but I think that there probably are people that believe that they can do it. And I think that there are people that they know it's bullshit and that they're just simply profiting off of it.
I'm not sure.
So what could end up, I mean, what sounds like it's more dangerous?
I think we're talking about maybe different kinds of danger here, because you have on one side, you have someone that has skills in exploiting people, exploiting them for money. And there's plenty of people out there that unfortunately are gullible and will be taken in by that. So you have this person that will make a lot of money, and they do, off of people like that. But on the other hand, you have a person that is the gullible person. And I'm not trying to be mean when I say that. It's just that they have this belief, they get taken in easily, and will hand over large sums of money. And it's damaging to them financially, of course. It's also emotionally, because they never get out of that loop. They're stuck in this closed loop of, I'm grieving, let me go to the psychic. They give me a reading, I feel better, and now it wears off, and now I'm going around and around and around, and they keep spending money over and over again. So you have that danger of financial ruin. That
very cycle was what made me think about an addiction cycle. I don't know if it's an addiction. I can't say that, but that cycle you mentioned, it was what made me think about the addiction to that.
But I mean, how many of them, or how many times do we have people that actually go back multiple times? Let's say normal everyday family loses somebody. Maybe one of the parents goes to a psychic. I mean, how often do we hear about people that keep going back though for a financial situation?
I've heard enough. I've heard from Bill Nygaard. He's the private detective that works with these cases to try to get the people money back. So I've heard from him of several. I've also heard from myself where people have contacted me and said, "Hey, I've been seeing this psychic for a year or two, maybe 3, and they go once a week, and then something happens. So usually it's something that they say that's completely off, and they're curious, or usually in the last couple cases, a friend has stepped in and said, "Hey, you might want to talk to somebody else, because I don't think I think they're scamming you." And I've been able to offer, like, just, ask these questions, or do this or do that, and help them out. I mean, we're talking hundreds, thousands. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Well, I kind of think if I find one, then I'll deal with that one. I don't think it should be one. I think it, especially people that are missing. And I'm not going to necessarily think of, having a reward as being necessarily money. I think people can get reward or payment in exposure. So they might volunteer their time to help search for this missing child and give horrible directions and horrible misunderstandings, and also talk and give comfort through saying that they're seeing their child is comfortable in death. They're still using that to gain notoriety, gain exposure in social media, exposure in media, which I think still, money necessarily isn't always the main motivator in doing that type of manipulation. There's also self-centered gratification of having that type of exposure. So that was really sad. I hope whoever has the next one is pretty better. Like, how come there's no free pizza in ghost hunts? Like, we could do that.
I mean, there is a group though that, and I think it's out of Windbridge. They're looking at how time with psychic mediums actually supposedly is helping the bereavement process.
I just read this.
It's as a facilitated. They're framing it as you have bereavement apparitions. So a lot of time when people think they get signs that their loved one's still continuing on, it's very therapeutic and good for them. And it's actually part of the grieving process that helps quite a bit. They've done a little bit of research in this, and I'd have to find the articles, but it looked like under the right conditions, yeah, that's probably it. Under the right conditions, and if it's supervised, and I would actually say at even having some sort of clinical presence, a psychologist or a psychiatrist, to also be part of that grieving process, it looks like there might be a benefit. Now, they even go on, and I don't know if it was their paper or their website, and they say, regardless if they're actually talking to the deceased, this seems to potentially have a positive benefit on people. But they're not talking about the people that have like big crowds show up and just do mass readings and cold readings, and what they're looking at is slightly different than that.
So the issue, I have a bunch of issues with that paper.
Well, which one is it? What was the title of it?
This is the possible effects of bereavement of assisted after death communication during readings with psychic mediums, a continuing bonds perspective.
And there's a newer one from 2019 where they do, what is it? Spontaneous. Hold on, let me look it up. There it is. Spontaneous, facilitated, and assisted and requested after death communication experiences and their impact on grief.
So this was something, I don't consider this, I think this is more of an exploratory kind of thing. Let's try something. But the participants were not, there was, as far as I could see, there was no mental health care providers involved in this for bereavement counseling or anything like this. The mediums that were used were not trained at all in any kind of grief counseling. But my main issue is that the participants of this study were from the medium's email list of clients. So they were told that, let me see here. It says the mediums were asked to forward a message requesting participation to their email lists, include the request in an upcoming newsletter, etc. And it included a letter. But basically, these are coming, the participants for this experiment were from the client list of mediums that already believed in this, already had readings from the mediums. I don't think this was a fair experiment whatsoever.
But what you got to look at, what was the point of it, and what was the primary endpoint?
I don't think the focus or the point of it matched what they tested. Because when I read that and realized like the mediums are the ones that reached out to the experimental or the participants, not the experimenters. So I don't see how that could be blinded. I see a big gaping flaw in this experiment because now the mediums have direct contact with all the participants.
And have a history of knowledge.
Yeah, they have a history together. So there was no condition where it prevented the medium from having contact with the client. Like there was no step or no perimeter saying, hey, if you get picked, don't contact your medium. There was no control for that. So I had a big problem with this when I read it.
What impact would that have? What do you think the negative impact on the study would be?
You wouldn't have, I don't know if you would have an honest, I don't think you would have an honest, what am I saying? What do I want to say? Result. Because it's not like the whole thing was based on this idea of triple blinding everyone. And that the mediums had no knowledge of the participants, but they did. So there was contact between the mediums, between the participants, which should have been blinded, but it wasn't. So you could have the mediums were set to write a reading for the participant and then a reading for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So if they give out these readings, what's to say that the participant and the medium didn't get together and say, "Oh, I read this today. Did you do me? Did you do this? It said this." I'm not saying that they did specifically, but there's no control against that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember I don't remember exactly what they did.
I know.
I'd have to look at it.
And this is I know it's unfair because I just read this today. Literally, it had nothing to do with the show. It had something to do with something else.
So for me, a grief vampire, I don't know if this sounds a little bit different, and I'm not sure. Like, I would have to educate myself better on what that is. I know, and I think Daniel in the chat would also know, and somebody else might have a therapeutic background. My thought is the grief vampire is someone that absolutely takes control and bleeds, fleeces, deceives, and keeps a line of connection going when it should be an ending in sight. What makes, some of that stuff that you guys were talking about made me think about, there was I can't think of what it is now, but there after the tsunami in Japan, and I think that was, probably like 7 or 8, maybe 10 years ago now. There was a really I just got to say, it was a really beautiful little podcast that addressed, and I'm going to be wrong about this because I can't remember exactly what it was, but somebody had put a phone booth near where a lot of people have passed, which a lot of people did pass. But the phone booth was for people to go into, pick up the phone, and they knew that they were being recorded, and say their goodbyes. Just go in and say their goodbyes, and they recorded and played a lot of them. I don't think that was, even though it was going to be recorded and then presented again in the future, I don't think that was necessarily taking advantage of that. And I can certainly see the therapeutic benefits of being alone and being part of a group that's going to this phone booth and sitting for as long as they wish on the phone and having a conversation with a loved one or loved ones that passed away and venting and saying goodbye and letting it go. To me, that's, I can't get into saying like that's paranormal, because I think that is a therapeutic line, but it's also using the concept of, hey, go into this phone booth, say goodbye to your lost one, and hope that gives some closure to that.
I think that's a great idea.
Honestly, if I could find it, it was absolutely, and the podcast was the bit was as respectful as you could imagine it was. And it was a beautiful thing. It's absolutely beautiful to listen to. And the people,
and just to clarify, no one was on the other side, right? Okay.
Nope.
It was just, all right.
Nope. But it was recorded, and they let them know it was recorded.
Okay.
Yes. And it was absolutely beautifully done. I don't think that was, what's the word I'm looking for? When they weren't using them for financial gain, even though they probably did. But I think the difference is they didn't tell them to keep coming. They didn't cost them anything. It wasn't, it wasn't something that they promised that they were going to get anything other than a way to say goodbye and be in a group process where you're alone, but you're also partaking in this project with other people that go into the phone booth and say goodbye.
I think that's a great. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think I haven't read that paper. I don't know anything about that, but it kind of sounds like maybe that's the kind of thing that they're saying that they're doing, is they're just facilitating a goodbye and not promising that what they say will get to the loved one, or that they're not promising that they are going to receive messages that they will then give to the person.
All the paper really looked at was, with a psychic reading, before you had the reading, what was your level of grief? After you had the reading, what was your level of grief? That's pretty much the point of the paper.
And that was,
and 35% of them, I'm actually flipping through it. 35% of them actually were working with a mental health professional. And then they did a differentiation where they looked at where you had the reading versus working with a mental health professional, and the level of grief declined with both.
With both. Yeah.
Relatively more so with the psychic reading, but on the other hand, the level of grief before the reading was slightly lower than it was in the group with the mental health professionals. So again, you always got to think about what's the point of the study. If it's exploratory, that's fine. If you're going to figure out if a reading, no matter, and you're factoring, like, listen, maybe they know they psychics, maybe they're comfortable with them, I don't care. If you go to your doctor, you usually feel better after a treatment if you like your doctor versus if you don't like your doctor. So whatever. The whole thing they were trying to see is there some sort of benefit on grief if you have a psychic reading or not? That's simply all that they were looking for. And they do call out a lot of the shortcomings that Kenny brought up in their discussion section. So this, everybody, as long as you acknowledge your shortcomings and you're going to hopefully do more with it, that's fine. I mean, I have no problem with that. That's part of a paper and part of the research. But I think here is basically they're saying, it looks like it helps with grieving. There you go.
They also, in their limitations, they state that the participants were self-selected to include individuals who already held a belief that a mediumship reading could be helpful and were therefore predisposed to finding the experience beneficial.
Sure.
There was also 2 sets of participants.
Yep.
One that took the survey but didn't get readings, and then the people that took the readings. I don't think this is I think this is more of like, well, if you believe in mediums and they believe they work, let's ask you some questions. And it looks.
Well, you could say that about mental health professionals then too. Do you believe in a mental health professional? Yes or no? Well, look, you believed and it helped you. I think the problem is some people are going to argue mental health professionals and the counseling sometimes they do. While it's more proven, I think some people have still have a bit of an issue on the soft science of that as well.
All right.
Anyway, it's an interesting paper. It deserves more work. I mean, I think what would be cool is then combining that with the accuracy of the readings. How accurate do you think your reading was based on certain ways to evaluate that? And then how much do you think your grief went down? These
are also based on recollections too. It's not
and they called that out and said the recollections could be bad.
So there's that's why I'm saying that there's so many issues that I have with this.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea that Tim was saying though. I like that because I think that's more. I mean, and somebody said it in the comments about it's kind of like going to a cemetery and it's someone's grave and talking to and I mean, I still there you go. I mean, I still talk to friends. I don't believe they can hear me, but when something goes wrong and it's something that a friend that passed away would think was funny, I curse them out. It's like, damn it, you would do this. This is something you would do.
Dude, just wait. Tim and I will scare the shit out of you someday when we're gone and we come back and you hear.
Hell yeah,
bring it. I'll be be
all he's going to hear in the background, shut up, bitch. And how come every picture has 2 fingers on it?
Why there's these ethereal lines?
These goddamn lines with fingers.
Smoky lines giving me the finger. What the fuck? Everyone.
You feel better now, you grieving bastard?
That's a good topic. That's almost like a whole show for at some point. But yeah, so I think it was a little bit. I think it was just a little bit of a different talking to a psychic help. I think that's one thing. But my issue was, like you said, the exploitation of that one person that takes advantage of death and publicly makes claims that they're talking, and the other person is the person that keeps that cycle. They don't let the cycle end.
Yeah.
And probably in that paper, the goal was to make that cycle
Well,
end and help.
Yeah, I'm sure nobody there would agree that these people that prey on it and keep making money and keep suckering them back.
Yeah.
That's not what
Yeah.
they're doing. There's
I-
again, there's a difference between the bullshit that goes on in the general community and the public and open sessions and money making scams versus some people are just researchers are legitimately looking at, is this a good form of grief counseling? Does it help?
And I think you're right, Dave. I think I also want to clarify too that I don't think this cycle, this vicious cycle is common.
Mhm.
I don't.
Well,
I think it's something.
Sadly, it's probably more common than we.
Well, it probably is,
Think
and
it
I
is.
mean everything that's unreported.
Yeah.
I mean that's the number one cause, at least in my experience, of people just being embarrassed and they don't want to. They'd rather
Yeah.
walk away and take the loss than to put it out there in public. But yeah, it's not the most common thing.
Yep.
But I think for the most part, people, at least in my experience, people go and see a medium almost more for fun.
Oh,
But there are people that go because I mean we are in the community. I go to these conventions. A lot of my friends are involved in this, so I know that they go not like once in a while, but not every week. It's maybe every other month or something that they sit down with somebody, and it's usually a general reading. It's not really anything bad. But I do know somebody. I know at least one person that was addicted to it. And it was brutal.
Yeah, it's
Just
too
seeing
bad.
it and trying not to be a dick, because you
It's
don't
hard.
want it to backfire on you, and
Yeah,
trying to
it's hard.
ease it in and say you don't stop spending this money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah, that's a
agree.
Good point. Good point.
Next topic. You got anything? I got stuff. I got it all written here.
Well,
I
go.
got my list too.
The one I opened with just ate up like 35 minutes. So,
It did.
Yeah, we might need to go a little quicker here.
so someone, Dave,
I got
think
something
you're
real quick.
okay.
Stop watching fucking Ghost Adventures. That's it.
But
All
Ghost
right,
Hunters is okay, right?
Well,
Oh,
that's not on the air anymore. No, stop watching that shit too, unless Jason's watching. Reruns. No,
Dave, you caught me mid-drink. Fuck.
That show, man. Just
Uh,
every time I see a commercial, it's like you have to laugh because it's so over the top ridiculous, and then it's even worse when I don't see the commercial, and my wife is like, "Kenny, come here, you got to see this." And she starts playing. I'm like, I don't want to see this.
It's almost as bad as your co-host sending you memes of Zach Bagans in response to a conversation.
Oh, all right.
Assholes.
There
All
you
right.
go.
Anyway, what do I got? I'll hit two of them that'll be quick and easy. They use this on TV. It must be good. Fucking annoying. And Para-Unity, bro. Listen, I have no problem with Para-Unity and the community coming together. But to me, Para-Unity, most of these conferences, and if anybody here runs conferences, listen up. It's great that I get it. You got to bring people in the door. So you're going to bring in some names, some TV people. You're going to do that. But to me, the idea of that Para-Unity needs to be more than just featuring the people on TV. And the other thing is Para-Unity is not about sitting there and slapping each other on the back. It should be talking to each other and trying to get better.
Yeah, exactly.
And
the last thing, getting better.
If you question anything, fuck you. You're not into Para-Unity. You're a jerk. I hate it. I just hate that. And I'm telling you right now, it's probably 98% of the reason I don't go to conferences. The last one I went to, the only reason I went is for the show and because Tim and Kenny were there. Otherwise, seriously, we try to go once in a while, but I can't fucking stand it.
What the hell?
It's just crazy.
My heart looks like.
Anyway, so there's two: Use on TV and Para-Unity.
Yeah. Jade Kitten, yeah. Ghost Hunters is still on in reruns. It's not on live anymore. No new.
That's
No
right.
new
Ghost Nation's the new one he watches every week.
I just had someone. I mean, on social media, surprise, and somebody they posted something saying the role of a paranormal investigator is to go into a haunted location and get the ghosts to trust you so that they can communicate with you. That was the whole post. So I commented saying, I disagree. I think the role of an investigator is to actually investigate the claim, whatever it might be, to actually investigate it with the purpose of solving this mystery, whatever that conclusion might be. It has to rely on the data. And, went into my normal stuff. And I was told that, hey, you're not being part of this para-unity because you're trying to make us look stupid. So stop doing it.
Oh, that's when you tell him you don't need me to do that.
Like, wait, what? Yeah, you're way ahead of me, bro.
You're way ahead, bro.
Way ahead of me. I mean, I'm with you though. I working together is great. I mean, that's something I preach all the time. Working together, whether you're on what side of the fence you're on, doesn't matter. If we can work together to try to figure out something, that's great.
Absolutely.
I'll do that. But one of the staples is we all have to understand that we can take criticism, that we're going to take criticism, and not to take it personally, to accept it, you don't have to accept it. You can just what's the word? Oh my God. You can consider it. Consider the criticisms, because if they're valid, you should realize that they're valid, or try to realize and figure it out. Okay, they're valid. I need to change something.
Yep.
If they're not valid, you need to be able to support why they're not valid, and come back and say, hey, this is why I don't agree with this, and have a discussion. That's how I see this unity thing going. I don't have to agree with you.
Yep.
You don't have to agree with me. That's cool. We can debate. I mean, you just saw it. We were debating over a paper, but we're not cursing each other out. We're not like, I'm not working with you anymore. You're not going to be on my show.
And I didn't hear from Kenny. Did you actually read the paper, Dave? That was one of the best digs ever.
That's on my list.
It's on your list.
That's funny.
Did you actually read that paper that you're giving me to prove all your points that actually doesn't prove anything?
You know what? Like that's
it's so
like with
annoying.
you. I understand. Like if anything, we argue about, I know that Dave read the fucking paper.
Yes.
At least we can argue from an intelligent level.
That point is never going to be contested. Never.
Because I will tell you, I'll come out and tell you before we start, to save embarrassment. I'll tell I didn't read the fucking paper.
Yeah.
I will peruse it as you talk.
Oh my God. Now you're getting me on that. Jesus. Yeah. Read the fucking paper, man. Like seriously, if you tell me to read a book or a paper or check out this video before you talk to me,
I think there was a recent instance where the three of us were told to read a paper, and in the messenger back and forth, I'm like, I seriously, I think I asked you guys, do I have the right paper? I'm serious. I'm like, this is not talking about anything you told us to look at. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm like,
I did that too.
But God damn.
I was like, what am I supposed to get out of this before?
And you know what? I was just getting like madder. I'm sitting here like
Me
this.
too, because it was 32 fucking pages of an old scanned document, and I'm like, I'm starting to get pissed now.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is some dude's rambling field report. This ain't no goddamn paper. What is this guy talking about?
Hey, there it is.
That's actually a good example. That's a good example of the community at times. Not everyone, but a good majority of them will do that shit. It's like, oh, they read the headline, they watch part of a video, or they only get a few seconds out of a video that makes sense to them. They read something or read a book, like maybe a chapter, or they hear about it. Some have only read a review by somebody else that really hasn't read the book, but they say, oh, this person said this book is good. And then they pass that along as if it's their own and saying, oh, you know what? Read this book. It'll change your mind. Really? What's it about? And they can't tell you.
I have no idea, but it looks like a great book.
It's like, did it change your life so fucking much? You don't even know what happened? Like, how does that work? Oh, it burns me up.
Along those same lines, I can't stand the news article that references a paper, but just talks in general about what the paper is to support a claim. And people are like, and then they'll repost it. And I just went through this off of a really bizarre claim. And I was like, well, I've got to see this paper that all this is about. And the paper wasn't, it's like what you said, Dave, when I found what could possibly be the paper, it read more like this person that they documented their thesis. It was like a thesis, not protection, damn it, defense. So it was like they were in front of PhDs and they were giving their thesis, and it was orating. So they had the paper was, a lot of it was Dr. So-and-so says, why didn't you do this in protocol and procedure? And so then I was like, this isn't the paper. It sounds like it's the transcript of, but it did have the method. So it did have the rest of it, but it wasn't published like in what you would consider that. But it was horrible. So the thing was that it included the actual PhD, the teachers, the doctors, the people that were there were like, well, this is a miss. Like, why didn't you do this? Like, this is obvious for us. Like, could you explain why this isn't there? And so the person that shared it, that was like, see, this is what's, I'm not going to get political, but they were like, see, this is what's wrong with the world. And I commented, and I was like, did you read the paper?
Oh, Tim gets vickered.
I did.
Fuck out of this conversation.
I was like, did you look it up? Did you read the paper?
Yes, the first paragraph and the last one. I know everything about it.
And there was like no answer. And then finally, after a couple of days, they just responded, have not. And I responded, could tell.
That was good.
Because it was bad. Even in the paper that they're referencing, they were getting shot down pretty hard.
Wow. Brutal.
So that's a pet peeve. People that don't read that. You're right. I even though it's not paranormal related.
And even if you read it, and you can read them 5 times.
Yep.
You might want to study those things, because I do remember when we wrote our paper, one of the comments or one of the phone calls with one of the editors was, yeah, you might want to read that one more time. And it wasn't that we missed the general point. It was all about the details.
Yeah.
It's like, what exactly did they find? It's not just, oh yeah, they looked at this and they found it significant. No. A lot of nuance there. So it's not, if you get a good paper, you definitely want to read it and understand it, because a lot of those, the nuances and a lot of the really good stuff is pretty deep in the weeds on those.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
and sometimes it takes a while. Like the last couple of days, I've been reading more papers than I really want to in that amount of time,
which is one.
Yeah, but usually, I try to get by just to have an understanding, not to debate it, but I try to get by with just the abstract and then the conclusion. I look to see what it's about and then what they found. And then if it's interesting from there, I go back and read the body of the paper. Right. Or at least the methodology. I want to know how they came to this conclusion, because sometimes they're padded with a lot of padded may be a bad word. They have a lot of background information that is useful, but not always what I care to look at. I'd like to look at the methodology to see how they came about it. But sometimes, I had to read it 4 or 5 times, to understand what I'm reading. And then I had, the paper's over here, Google's over here, and I'm like, what's that mean? What's that word? What is
there's
that
times
term?
in grad school, or when I was in grad school, or even I go downstairs in our research labs, and they'll be reading papers, and there is more freaking writing on that and about 10 other papers laying around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I mean, you're getting to a level where people have PhDs and they're like, well, this is a good paper, but it's, not my work. So I'm trying to understand what the hell they actually did.
Right. Right.
So anybody who tells you, I read this paper from the general community, and if it's a true academic paper and you need to read it and understand it, I think it's fair to ask them if they read it and they understood it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair question.
And to be, this might be unconventional. Shit. There's the alcohol. Sorry. Unconventional. Unconventional.
What?
Unconventional.
Thank you. Unconventional. Thank you.
Supposedly?
Yes. Oh God.
Not be drunk on our show would be unconventional.
You
Go ahead, Tim.
So when I got into a good habit that helps me read papers, and I read the abstract, then I start at discussion and I go backwards: discussion, conclusion,
Yep.
Findings, methods, what they used, their tools and equipment, and all the way back up to the introduction. I don't know why that helps me. I don't, because
It's
it makes
actually pretty standard for
is it
training people how to read research papers. That's how
Mhm.
most people are trained, especially if you're just learning how to read academic literature.
Well,
Abstract, introduction, conclusion, then work your back your way through discussion and methods, material and methods, and read it more than once.
yeah. So I always felt like I was cheating. Like,
Nope. That's how I
so
read papers, actually.
in school, yeah, I was like, you know what? I don't want to read this whole thing and I have to do a report on it. So let me just go to discussion and conclusion. But then I got there. I was like, this is some pretty interesting shit. Let me see what happened above it. So I was like, oh, here's the methods. Well, and so it just kind of became interesting to me.
Mhm.
And I don't know. When I read the discussion, I hate to sound like it sounds like you're reading a book backwards, but it felt more natural to me.
Dude, you always read the last chapter of a book first in case you die before you finish the book, so you know how it ends. Come on, man. All right. What else? One other thing I have that kind of transitions into this, talking about papers and all that stuff is, I always love there's no experts in the field. So my theory, and this has two strikes against it. Strike one, there's no experts. And then, so my theories, strike two, should be hypotheses, are just as good as anyone else's. So that one double pisses me off just in one sentence.
I love that.
I have a really good friend that eats dessert every time.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So I'll hit my last couple, and I saw like a couple comments or a question or two, so we can get to that. But
Kat, we'll mention that at the end when we do announcements.
I was going to bring that one up
time for your show. Excited about it. So sorry. Go ahead.
Is she a sponsor? Are we getting paid for this?
Well, why don't we talk about you paying us first?
Your check is in the mail, Dave.
I'm still waiting on my W-2s from being a bodyguard.
There's the reason it's called snail mail.
I'll follow up with the IRS and get back to you. Thanks.
Okay.
So, one of my favorite pet peeves. It's to the point where I kind of chuckle when you're like, you're 35 years old, but you have 52 years of experience with the paranormal. Dude, it took me 2 semesters to figure out statistics, but I'm smart enough to know that shit doesn't add up.
Oh, man.
So since you're on exaggerations, Tim, let me throw in one of mine to complement that.
Okay.
I've investigated thousands of cases over that time period.
Oh. Have you really?
How does the math work out, Tim? How does the math work out?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
That was, that was one of my most favorite things that we all three ended up doing on a show. People say we ended up doing the math together, in which it took all three of us. But people that say, I've done 500 investigations. look at all that over
So
20 years.
if you did
Yes.
one investigation every weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to base it off of 52 weekends,
Mm-hmm.
all right, it would take you 19.2 years just to do that. That's 1,000.
Well, it makes perfect sense. If they're 18 years old and they started when they were born, they did a couple a week. Come on.
Well,
That's
hold
right.
on. Let's see.
You know what? One of my other favorite sayings from certain individuals, I was brought up in the paranormal. The
Where are
fuck
you
does
now?
that what does that even mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
I was brought up in the Catholicism.
In the
Oh,
paranormal.
Same, Kenny. I guess probably we could
So
say
was
we were
I.
brought up in the paranormal. If you're,
I was brought up in the Philadelphia. What the fuck does that mean?
I'm brought
I
up
was
in the
brought up
holler.
in Wisconsin. Yeah, hey there.
I was brought up in the hollers of West Virginia.
I was brought up in the alcoholism.
He said. We had coal.
You're still going through that part of your life.
Well, yeah.
We had coal for dinner, and we were happy to have it.
Oh God.
Well, I guess the thing I was saying, like people that say they have so many years of experience, like I have 20 years experience. So
Yeah.
you take like if an average investigation is 4 hours a night, maybe.
Year and a half, whatever.
Yeah. And then you add up like how many hours of investigative time you have over 20 years. And it turns out, strictly speaking, an 8-hour day, you end up with like you've worked a 2-week.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, it is bullshit.
I can't even, with a straight face, and I put in long hours for my normal job. I can't even justify I work that many hours on my normal job.
Right.
I mean, come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
No, I love it. Anyway,
All right,
So,
so my
my
last
other one
favorite
is we
Go ahead.
help people. We help people.
Oh,
I'm there just to help people,
yeah, big help.
yeah, not
Big
help.
What are you helping?
Yes.
Like, I understand if you go in there and you can tell someone, hey, look, we checked out what was going on. We didn't find anything. There was nothing here. Nothing happened. That's one thing. If you go in and say, oh yeah, like I'm a psychic, and I'm going to use a recent case. I'm a psychic, and I see a drowning boy in your house, and they're running around. I also see like a lot of energy over here, and this and that.
Motherfucker, he snuck it in.
And
Marty drunk, Kenny.
I think your house is haunted, and I can't do anything about it. So, see ya, and they leave. Like, how are you helping? And if you just go in there and play with your toys, and really don't do anything, and then you leave, how are you helping? I don't get it. Like, I can say that I actually helped someone. I went in, all their claims that scared them, we went through them, both of us together. Owner, me, we went through every one of them. We solved each one. They're now comfortable in their house. They are not afraid of anything. They are sleeping. They had sleeping issues before. Everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I just checked in with them this morning. Everything is still fine. This is weeks later. Everything's cool. I helped them. That was my goal, like to solve the problem, to solve the issue.
Let's say I have $1 million home that
Let 'em go
they
there all
want
the
to
time.
sell to you, Kenny, for they want to sell to you for $100,000 because it's haunted. Kenny's telling them, fuck yeah, this is haunted.
Like, I'm going to need some more research. So
I'm going to need to buy this house from you and keep it safe for the world.
That's right. I'm doing you a favor, taking this
All right. So
demon house off your hand.
here's one. I'm a parapsychologist. That fucking pisses me off.
I know that pisses you off.
Oh,
But
does it piss me off?
Dave, I signed up for that class. I got my diploma. I filled it out myself. I know it's legit.
Uh-huh. The point is that, and the fact of the matter right here is you're laughing about it. You're not serious.
I have my doctorate right up here on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
cost me $20. It's not
Worst
including the
$20
frame.
you ever spent. No, I just that's annoying because
It
to
is.
actually have that title, and we've talked about this on a separate show, and Kenny's written about it. There's a lot of school involved, and it's a select number of schools, and you're talking 4 years of undergraduate, and if you do a PhD, if you're going to be in parapsychology or anomalistic psychology, you're talking 4 to 6 more years of school. So, I mean, great. You can get a certificate, mail order. You can be drunk and take the test like Kenny did and still pass. But that does not, that's about as good as Kenny getting a diagram of the brain and labeling the front and the back appropriately and saying he is now a neurosurgeon. I mean,
I'm good with that.
It's a
That's the
as long
front.
as long as you got to cut it.
don't get any brain injuries. Holy shit, we're screwed. No, but it's just that's one of the big pet peeves I have is people that say they have academic credentials. Roundtree, what? And really don't have them.
That's a blast from the past. Oh my god!
Well,
Go ahead,
you
search
got to throw one
Let
out
me
there.
out.
Search them. I agree though. That's something, and we've seen it not once or twice, but several times where
Repetitive.
people on TV, they do their own show. They put the lower thirds parapsychologist. Sometimes I will clarify that sometimes the production company puts that on there for them, but still should have a problem with it. There's also people that have had banners made up. I've come across them at conferences where they have a banner that says parapsychologist, and it's like, really, where did you study?
Where's Lloyd? I don't see him.
Actually, it was funny. Like I actually reached out to Lloyd because I went to a conference not too long ago where somebody who set up right across from me, which was convenient, had a banner and they advertised themselves as a parapsychologist.
I think I recall that.
Yeah, I reached out to you too.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was like, who is this person?
I believe
And-
the answer was fuck no.
They had like their credentials were not credentials; they were subscriptions.
Yes.
There's a big fucking difference. That doesn't give you academic credentials. It means you paid to subscribe and you get a newsletter. So you're a member of a society. But and it's that kind of stuff where they put out that title, and if you don't question it, you look cool. You look like an authority. It's like, oh, you're a parapsychologist. Oh yeah. I mean, I could say all kinds of shit like that too, but that's why we stress.
Kenny, settle down, man. I get a subscription to the Harvard Business Review. I obviously have a PhD in economics from Harvard. Come on.
Obviously.
I'm going to put it on a banner. Make it real.
Let me put this up from Grace Robinson. My personal pet peeve is that I don't have a handy document or website with all the info about each ghost hunting gadget, about whether it's worthless or how to use it correctly, so I can quickly cut and paste and see something comes up online. Is there such an online doc with all of it in one place?
Not that I know of, but the internet's a big place.
I have a few articles that are up on skepticalinquirer.org. You can look up my name, and like I've done EMF meters, I've done REM pods, I've done various other gadgets that I've taken apart and not put back together. Because they don't work.
Well, you got a good one coming.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've done a few articles on that, but I don't know any place that has it all in one, like just one page where you click on bullshit gadget and you can read all about it. But basically the rule of thumb here is that none of it works for ghost hunting. let me clarify. For paranormal investigation, ghost hunting, the way you see it used on TV, no, does not work.
Good young Frankenstein reference there, Bob. Love it.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I was going to say for that, I was going to do a shameless promotion for CFI and Kenny's blog and his videos. And Kenny's pretty accessible. So for a small fee, he'll answer your emails. I'm kidding.
That's how he's
you can reach out. You can absolutely reach out to me. my email is easy. It's kbiddle@centerforinquiry.org. You can send me an email and ask, or you can call the center. Don't ask me what the phone number is. I don't know it, but just look it up. Center for Inquiry. Actually, I do know it. You can call me at 716.
That move.
Look at that. 716-636-1425.
I'm getting old. Gotta put my glasses down.
No, it's like, I can put
You know
them
what?
on now, I can
Another
tell you
5 years of this show, and we're all gonna be like this.
with the chain
and a walker in the back.
3 tortured Venmo. I love that right
All right.
So for Grace, I think reaching out to Kenny's good. I think he's probably got a lot of,
and I mean there's this great paper about EMF that 3 guys just did put out. So
sew it together.
Yeah,
just slapped it together. It was really easy.
But yeah, reach out to me, Grace. Feel free, and I'll answer whatever questions you have. The best to my ability.
I think most of us have wasted enough money on certain equipment. We can point you in the right direction.
Facts.
All right.
Here's one. We'll let Dave fill this one.
Yes, it is. It is a real field. There's a couple of universities overseas that actually have parapsychology departments, and they're staffed by PhDs, and they conduct research and they hand out masters and PhDs in the field. Edinburgh is one university, as well as Northampton. There's even anomalistic psychology. There's also ways that you can get your actual degree or PhD in, let's say, psychology, but do a parapsychology related research and doctoral dissertation. So yes, it is a real field. It's accepted by the American Association for the Advancements of Science as a legitimate field. It's not exactly in parapsychology. It doesn't say that there's definitely life after death or there's PK or ESP. What they're doing is trying to conduct research to understand what's going on. So yes, it is a legitimate field.
All right. Bob. So he's asking, I'm thinking about that picture. So wouldn't we just have interesting topics like this? I go to Pixbay or Pixel.
It's a self-portrait.
Yeah, that's actually me in the morning.
When he takes off the headphones, Voldemort is on the back of his head.
That'd be cool. I'd be like, give me the numbers to the lottery, especially the $1 billion lottery. We'd have the most badass laboratory. It'd be so cool.
Laboratory.
We would make people pronounce it laboratory.
In our lair.
It's in the castle, the lair.
Yes.
In our kingdom.
Yes.
I'm just going to buy West Virginia and kick everybody else out. Like, this is us. Mothman lives in my lair. So anyway, so for that, it's just I go there, frustration. So I type in and look for a picture, frustration or anger or yelling, and that came up, and I thought it was kind of cool. So they have a lot of free royalty pictures.
Royalty free.
Yes, thank you. That's
it's that point in the show where we're just going to keep helping them.
Yeah.
We got you, Tim.
So yeah, and so at the end you can download it, and then it has an option to donate to the artist, which I always do. So I do donate for the free use of it.
Fuck that! If you put it up for free, you're stupid. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. I've made donations myself. No, I'm obviously kidding.
Yeah, it's a good way to keep the artists going. So I do. So that's it.
Got
any more?
Hey, what do you think about the use of theory instead of?
Well, I have a theory about that.
I have a theory. the theory.
I hypothesize the show will be over soon. Actually, that might be a theory because that's going to be fact.
That's going to be supported by
That's going to be supported by data.
Not only that, you can make an accurate prediction based on that theory that it's going to happen. You can measure it.
Oops, sorry, that was me by mistake. Yeah, see, show over. Bye.
I have 2 more on this list, both from Dave.
Okay, name
Fire
them.
them away.
So, ghost hunters teaching classes at community colleges.
Oh fuck!
I like when he's just like,
Oh, I forgot about that one.
just got to breathe
Listen.
through it.
Fucking figure out what the hell you're doing before you go teach classes. There you go.
Wow.
I mean, I've seen some pretty bad ones. There have been some okay ones, to be fair. There have been some that are okay, like very basics, like if you go to investigate, here's what you should, basic steps and what you should do, and those are okay. But there's ones where they get into a lot of a lot of theory, a lot of BS theory, and they're just awful. But they're using it to be perceived as having some sort of academic credentials, background, and expertise in the area. That's what kind of bugs me. Now, I'll be honest, when we had our group, we would teach a class at the local community college, and looking back at it, I've reviewed it. Not bad. It was more of how to do it and procedures and stuff, but there's things I still cringe at from the past where I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'm not sure if I taught a class these days, I probably would not go down that road.
Yeah.
So I can speak from a level of I've done it. I know probably what we did was not horrible, but it wasn't great. And it needs to be fixed. And I still see that repeated with other people.
I like doing workshops because it's and fully explaining what it is. I see classes like that you're talking about, and you see them advertised and described as like, come out and learn how to use scientific paranormal equipment and stuff like this. And it's almost embarrassing. You get that eye roll. I want to take one of these. I want to go to one of these classes just to see what they're actually teaching.
Didn't we try to do that online one time and then the person canceled us?
Yeah.
Because they found out we're assholes.
Yeah. I mean, we still
tortured
paid.
assholes.
But yeah, I mean, it's not. I guess it comes in the idea of ego and a misunderstanding of what you know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think, hey, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And they want to teach it. And basically what they're doing is the cookie cutter routine of what they see on TV.
Yeah.
And hey, you know what? You can watch TV if you want to learn how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go to a community college class. But there's really nothing more to say about that. Stop teaching the classes. Stop. Just stop. The last one I have here.
Oh God.
Ghosts use the energy from the environment to manifest. That's why batteries drain and there are cold spots.
Should have known I was going to catch a hell of a buzz in this type of show.
Oh,
Like that's
it's so ridiculous.
So yeah,
that's assuming you know what ghosts are,
right?
You're knowing that they need some sort of energy source, and you're assuming that whatever energy source is there, they actually can utilize.
Yes.
Like how? I mean, as a living human being, how are you sucking heat out of the fucking environment?
Whoa! This show just took a major turn.
Good night, everybody. It was a great show.
Have fun.
Come on.
Woohoo! Oh.
How are you as a human? Think about it. As a human, if your personality is gonna survive, how are you bringing in heat from the environment to manifest?
How are you drawing?
And how are you using an EMF to power you turning whatever the flashlight on and off for a ghost hunter?
Oh my God! Don't even. Oh, that's no. I found another pet peeve.
Simple answer. Go back and see our show on energy. And how it actually is converted between different types. And then actually pick up a basic chemistry or physics book, read about it, and then come talk to us again.
There you go.
You can take basic energy. You can take basic chemistry and physics classes for free on Coursera. Does it make you an expert?
Physicist?
But
Theoretically, yes.
it sure,
Well,
And
you
it
get
makes
a
you a
certificate.
parapsychologist.
it sure is. I enjoy those classes a whole lot. I walk away knowing more than when I went in, so it's not a loss. And sometimes I just quit because I'm like, I fucked up. I should not have entered this class. This is way above.
Which is an important message here. Sometimes ghost hunters should know when to quit and just walk away.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's a t-shirt.
That's good. Yeah. When you engage with somebody that in a conversation and you're backed up into a wall, the proverbial corner, and you know you don't know the answer, but yet you spit out something of word salad, then that's when you need to stop. You need to quit and just bow out. You need to just like tap out. Just tap. Say, hey, you know what? I'm out. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know is a perfectly acceptable answer.
That reminds me of I think the first Gettysburg thing we met Kenny at, and there was a certain para-celebrity there. It was a miserable fucking day. I remember it rained all day. I'm like, God, this is so awful. But there was a certain para-celebrity there, and Kenny's like, hey, I talked to this guy. He's into random number generators. He wants to get more into it. He wants to understand it. Total TV personalities. Like, I told him to come over and talk to you. So he came over, looked at whatever we had that we were showing about it, turned around and walked away. So I think there's an example of somebody knowing when it's probably better to quit.
You're like, oh shit.
What the hell is this shit?
Now, I'm over my head.
This does not have a red and green light. I don't understand this.
That's
But it's okay not to know.
That's fine. And that's actually the person that I'm not going to say the name, but they went up a couple notches because they realized they're like, okay, I better go and learn a little bit more before we talk about this.
right.
I'm gonna throw these two up because I like these two together and I didn't think about them. Tom, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Immediately pisses me off when I hear that. And this one, quantum physics and mechanics.
No, we did not, because between the three of us, we couldn't give you a comprehensive argument on anything related to quantum physics. So we know to quantum physics. Sorry.
Okay.
There it is. Good job. Drink up, Dave.
That's a big mason jar of bourbon. We don't know shit about quantum physics, and we know our limitations, so we're not going to go there.
Right.
Energy cannot be created or destroyed. That is technically correct. The problem is they mix. Jesus Christ, they miss. God damn it, Tim.
Yes.
They miss the next step of it being transferred from one form to another.
Right.
And it transferred from one form to the number. Jesus, another.
Oh my God.
Wow. This is awesome.
Recorded. I'm making a TikTok just out of his.
The transfer from one form to another does not mean it goes from something you completely understand with chemistry and physics to something metaphysical. A ghost energy existing outside the body. That is not what happens.
Right.
Yes.
Because if it did, we'd be able to collect some data on that and we would know.
And you're right. Like, that's the full quote. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Rather, it can only be transformed or transferred from one form to another.
Okay, so pet peeve number 32. Don't fucking pick and choose things out of theories or hypotheses or well-known science to support your point of view and forget the second half of it.
Yes. Yeah. Because that's a problem. That's the I'm gonna do a quote and then put the ... at the end.
Yes.
That means there's more, but I'm not going to tell you because I don't know it. Basically. Yeah.
All right.
So as far as quantum, so Kenny and I both, and I'll just speak for me, but I jumped into an introductory quantum mechanics class.
Failed.
That's the one I said earlier when I was
Yeah.
like, fuck. I got through like day 3 and I was like, this is no, they're like talking in mathematics. Like they're like this. It's the first time I actually had a concept that math was a language and you could write ideas in math, which is beautiful, but I need a lot of alcohol to understand it. So I tapped out. But what I took away from that is absolutely, if I'm not talking to someone that has training, education, some type of degree in quantum mechanics or quantum physics as they're telling me an idea, then I don't want to hear it. Well, I shouldn't be so hard. I might want to hear it, but I'm not going to take it as fact. So, in other words, what I'm saying is if I'm going to listen to something that's quantum mechanics or any type of quantum physics as it relates to a paranormal topic, then I want somebody with a degree and in high enough level of physics that I would be able to at least not understand them, but could trust what they're saying. I hope that helps.
Waiting for my peeps. I can tell you all about quantum mechanics.
Yeah, it's such an amazing thing. It is amazing. It's beautiful. Like I love it so much. Like I wanted to take it, and then when I actually went and thought I could do the nuts and bolts, I was like punched in the face with no, you can't. Sit back down, get back in your lane. So I did, and I backed out of that.
All right.
Yeah, Sheldon Cooper. We should have him on the show.
Yes.
All right, that's all.
All right, that's it.
Good.
Yeah.
Close us
Right.
down, buddy.
I feel better. I feel this has
Vented.
been very therapeutic.
It's been very therapeutic.
Nice.
Well, we know Rob.
Yes.
Didn't Rob study quantum? I don't know how far he made
I don't
it.
think he's going to come on, and I would have to say I like the idea, but he will not relate it to parapsychology. Because even parapsychologists, the real ones, will tell you, while there might be something with quantum physics that is involved, they don't know for sure. And you get a whole list of problems between the very small micro and very cold level quantum mechanics. And then when you get into larger molecules, consciousness, the brain, neurons, it becomes a little more iffy. So
Yeah.
I don't even think most legit parapsychologists are going to try to speak too much about quantum physics. Besides, yeah, it might have a role, but let's kind of wait and see what happens.
And I'm certainly not trying to say don't engage in the wonderment of, just the idea of it, because it is fascinating. And I certainly wouldn't want to take it away from anybody. I do. I don't understand everything, but I love reading about it. And, could it be anything? I don't know. I loved it enough that I thought I was going to take a freaking introductory class to it and made it to like the 3rd page and was like, I'm out. So I wouldn't say this to say, don't explore it. Don't be amazed by the wonderment of it. Like I embrace it, love it. Like I just, what I would say is be careful of people that would look at you and say, well, quantum mechanics says blah, 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 blah. Therefore, this is probably how ghosts communicate. I would stop at that point. Could there be a connection? Sure.
Maybe.
I can't say.
So speculative. No, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to ask one thing. Cat Ward here.
Yes, I was going to.
This, I don't know where you're going with this. I do know Keith Linder. I do know of the Bothell House. I'm not going to call it a hell house because it's funny. Bell House to physics. Have you ever guys heard Keith Linder relate? I will just say, for my personal opinion, I've dealt with Keith. I've engaged with Keith several times. I think he's full of shit. To be honest, went through a lot of his claims He absolutely hates me because I went through his claims and offered just logical, simple explanations. I think my personal opinion is I think he did a lot of it himself, if not all of it. Yeah, I think he tries anything to grab onto any kind of notoriety or fame or whatever. I think he just is out for attention. So that's all I'm going to say about him.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see anytime I comment, there's a certain site, ASAP, ASSAP, I think. If I comment on anything, he's quick to just fight me on anything. And it becomes like I entertain it for a little bit just because it's, it's a distraction, but then it gets to be a pain in the ass kind of distraction. And then I move on. So yeah, I don't like him at all. Anyway,
onward.
In that note.
All right, so don't forget about Kat.
Yes.
The thing that she's doing. So to throw that out there.
Mm-hmm.
What is she doing?
I don't know.
Help her out with her experiment. It's
Yes.
been shared and posted on the Three Tortured Souls Facebook page.
Okay.
Mhm.
There you go.
I was thinking show.
Oh, and her show, yes.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was.
So she has her show that she's trying to do, and she's going to have a variety of people that are fairly well known professionals in the field, some researchers, a variety of different people, and Tim, Kenny, and I are trying to coordinate a date to be on her podcast. So
Yes.
we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to let these two guys, or I don't know, we're all involved in the chat, so we'll find a day.
Yeah, we'll find it.
I think the week that we originally picked, I'm going to be gone with no internet and no contact with society, which will be fine by me.
Slacker, Dave. Slacker.
Mm-hmm. Well, just send me an email next week and I'll address it.
That sounded like that line's right out of your work. Like how to dodge that bullet.
I believe my auto reply is "Don't give a fuck. Talk to you in a week."
Well, good.
Shit, that's good.
All right. So I think that was a good show. I feel very catharticized.
My stress level's gone down.
That's right.
Blood
the alcohol
pressure
helped
dropping.
a lot. Yeah.
I don't have a lot of stress.
Slurring
anymore.
and
I'm
You're
pretty
slurring.
relaxed all the time.
You beat me tonight, Dave.
I did. God damn it. Damn it, Tim.
I'm all good.
Damn it.
You got to be
Damn it,
drunker.
Yeah, drunker.
Drunker.
So let me start with Dave. You got anything coming up?
No.
All right. Kenny?
I have a few things.
Oh.
I'm not going to name them all, but I'll stay kind of local. First and foremost, I do a show Friday nights called The Skeptical Help Hour, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. I don't know who I'm having on this Friday because I got to work on it tomorrow.
Probably another celebrity, but that's okay.
Well, we'll see. I think I did my fill of celebrities this month. I'm good. Oh, it's a new month. Never mind. What else I do? Oh, I also do once a month. I do a show with these guys, so it's fun.
He wanted to say assholes, but he couldn't.
These assholes. Yeah, I was going to say
it's okay.
Hey, go ahead.
Coming up this weekend, if you're in the Buffalo area, it is the Buffalo Oddities Expo, which is at the Buffalo Convention Center. I haven't been there before, so I'm actually excited to go. It's Saturday and Sunday, so I think I'm going Saturday because Sunday is a big flea market day. Yeah, I think I'm going to be there. If you're in the area, come on out. Drop me a line. Let me know if you're going to be there. Maybe we can meet up and hang out. And then
flea market reminds me. You and I need to talk after the show quick.
Okay.
Remind me.
So coming up on the 14th of this month, I'll be flying out to Seattle, Washington, because I'm meeting up with the Seattle Skeptics. It's a branch that we have out there, and I'm going to be doing a lecture on strategies for solving mysteries. And it's all the ways that I do it. And I'll be going through it using cases that I've worked on and showing you, hey, this is how it helped solve the case. So I'll be doing that on the 15th. I'll put more up on our website later tonight or tomorrow morning. And then that week, I'm also traveling down to Portland, Oregon to do another lecture on the 18th. And then hanging out with somebody. We have Portland Skeptics. We also have the Oregonians for Science and Reason that are coming out. So 2 big groups, actually 3 big groups that are coming out. So we're going to be hanging out with them. Again, I'll put more information up. So if you're in the area and you want to attend, it's open to the public. So there's no fee. You can come out and hang out with us. And I think that's about it for now. And one last thing, September 15th, or actually 16th and 17th, I'll be down in West Virginia. Hanging out with the Mothman. and
Daniel's Daniel will be there.
Daniel Reed, Tim, and anyone else that comes out. We'll be hanging out, and we'll be looking for the Mothman. See if we can find him.
Ooh.
Yeah, and maybe jet over a little bit to Flatwoods.
Absolutely.
Look into the Flatwoods monster thing too.
Cool.
Because I want to see that.
We got to get. So I got to get some more tutors in you, and some pepperoni rolls, and then
What are tutors?
It's the huge biscuit world place I took you, where you get like a half-pound biscuit.
Nice.
Explains a lot about us here in West Virginia.
I'm gonna have to work out a little bit more leading up to that, so I can justify like it's biscuit country, hon. I got to eat.
His statue definitely has some back.
Yeah, he got some buns of steel. I hear stainless steel. Anyway, so that's it for me for now.
Well, that's doing a show once a month with these 2 wonderful people, and I was going to say as well, we'll be out there on the 16th with Daniel. Daniel's joining in, so it'll be good.
Yay!
Going to miss Dave, but
I'll be traveling somewhere internationally. I don't know where. I'll figure it out.
I'm going to.
You're going to skip West Virginia for something international? Come on.
Probably.
I'm going to throw this out real quick. Demonologists.
Yeah, how did we forget that?
Actually, that I got a text from Jason. He is watching this show and he's like, "Hey, what about demonologists?" Like, damn, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, we forgot about that.
I forgot about demonologists. I have science-based. I just didn't do that, but I think that kind of went with that. But demonologists, Jesus,
are they worse than the people that say they're parapsychologists?
Demonologists,
probably.
Demonology is one of those things where you might want to have some serious thoughts of referring people to a mental health professional before you even talk to them.
Wow.
So to come in and say you're a demonologist and move into something that could be a potential psychotic or psychiatric type situation, you might want to think again.
Yeah, we've watched. I don't know if we played them, but we've certainly watched a few
We played some of them, and they were awful.
exorcism.
Yeah.
They're awful.
They're awful. They're
awful.
abusive. They're
Very.
it's uncomfortable to watch them. And really
It is,
the
yeah.
level of potential harm you could do. I mean, even the Catholic Church refers to medical before they'll even touch it.
Yeah.
So if you're, I mean, whatever your feelings are on religion and the church, Catholic Church, at least they even refer to medical science before they'll look at anything. So for you to come in and say you're a demonologist because you took a class or you read a few things and you're coming into people's homes, I think it's totally irresponsible and unacceptable.
And I think that's
story.
mostly the case, at least in my experience. It's people that have just read a few books, if they've actually read the entire books. But they've read a couple books on a website, hung out with somebody else that said they were a demonologist, and that's it. And they're coming into your home as this, not only as a expert, but a specialized expert.
Right. And if you if you're gonna it's so beyond fucking ridiculous.
I can feel the frustration.
I mean, if you're gonna come into somebody's home,
yes,
with
the level
no
of disrespect.
experience and no medical knowledge, it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's a really bad idea. You can really screw up some people.
Yeah.
So don't do it.
Don't do it. I mean,
Don't
and
do it.
that's we're not even considering the trouble you might. I mean, the person that's doing it might get in.
I
with some
quite
liability.
honestly, I'm amazed nobody has been sued and put in jail for it.
Yeah.
They're brutal. They're brutal to watch. They really are.
It is. It is. Yeah.
And let's face it, if 1/10 of what people report during exorcisms was true, look at, and this comes back to Kenny's point, or I think it was Kenny's point about people looking so upset and scared on the TV shows. If you say you're a demonologist, and even if 1/10 of that shit is real, I can guarantee you, you will no longer be a demonologist.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's a bunch of crap that's going to piss off some people, but who cares? Kenny employs us. He'll take the flack.
That's right.
There you go. Hey, I'll take
Send
it.
my damn.
Kenny's going to be like,
W-2s.
no, I don't. Just shut up.
You know what? I will happily take that. Like, bring it, because I'm right there with you. I think
I don't
the
know.
whole idea of being a demonologist is just straight up bullshit. And I think it's bad, especially if you have no background.
Yeah.
If you have no training to speak of, if you have no kind of legitimate certification, and most of the stuff we've talked about tonight just doesn't have legitimate
I mean, the
certification.
Catholic Church and others have legitimate years of coursework, years of, understanding psychological and psychiatrical medical issues, and they,
Right.
train you how to investigate, and they train you on, what to do for the medical background. So, I mean, and people have problems with that. Let's be honest. People have issues with that part of it, but at
Yeah.
least that's trying to address any potential medical issues before you move into a potential spiritual issue. Which,
Right.
okay, I get that. That's okay. But people who have no training, no experience, nothing at all, to go in and pretend to do that,
Yeah.
no way.
It's you misdiagnose one thing which you should not be diagnosing, and you could potentially, someone could die from what you advise.
I mean, what happened if, God forbid if somebody said, oh yeah, this guy told me there's a demon here. They took me over. I killed my family.
Right.
Guess what, dude?
You're going to court.
Demonologist. You're going to court. You're probably going to jail.
Oh shit,
I'm
Dave.
just surprised it hasn't happened.
That's you gave me a good idea for a book.
I thought he was like, you gave me a good idea. I'm going to run with this.
Demonologist.
For a book. Now that I'm actually
Demonology
killed
sent me to
someone.
prison.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's awesome. That's like a
A
mini
whole new show.
That's
Here we
a
go.
I
Reality.
3-part
could
miniseries.
If somebody wanted to plan that, I mean, obviously they're going to go to prison somewhere. But
Mhm.
if you wanted to plan that out and have a demonologist come and try to confirm that you are possessed or have possession, and then you're like, perfect, can I have a piece of paper? Yeah, I give you permission to put that splash reel on YouTube. And then you go kill some people. And then in your defense, you can say, well, I have a professional that came in and told me it was a demon. It wasn't me.
Oh,
So you could plan ahead,
oof.
allegedly.
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 Nice.
As your attorney,
right.
don't say anything more.
Frauds. Anyway,
There's a-
onward.
All right.
right.
Let's wrap. I'm sorry. I wanted to throw that in. It was a good one.
That was a good one. How the hell did we forget that?
Damn.
Makes
Well,
me
there's
wonder
so
what else
many.
we forgot.
There really
there
are so
is.
many.
That's
Yeah.
why the person who sent it to him gets paid the big bucks, and we're getting nothing doing the fucking show.
I got a good buzz. I mean, that's pretty good.
There you go.
That's
You
a
got
win.
something.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's always
I,
good. Me
I
too.
slurred. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
me
did.
too.
You get to spend time with me.
That's wonderful.
Then there's that.
And there's that. Yeah. Whatever.
And with that, let's end this fucking show.
That's right. I'm looking for the
He's looking for the video.
So we got to kill dead air time while Tim
Don't
looks for
fuck
the
it
end.
up, Tim.
don't put pressure on me.
Don't do it.
Closing. Here it is. I
Don't
got
do
it.
it.
Look
Closing.
at that goddamn picture next to him. He's gonna fuck it.
I got it.
Oh my
I got
gosh.
it. Who's up next?
Kenny.
Kenny.
Is it me?
Yep.
That was last time, wasn't it?
Dave.
No, that was we did the paper last time. That was me.
Evidence
I
by-
bored the shit out of people. Tim brought it back, and now you got to come up with a good topic.
Wait, what about the one in between?
There was none.
There was none.
Didn't we do a show in between?
No,
We had the guy.
no, you brought the guy on.
Yeah, I brought the guy on.
And then I did the paper, and then Tim did
okay.
this show.
All right, it's my turn. Good.
He might
All
not be slurring,
corrected.
but he's fucked up.
Damn it. All right, so I got a month to figure out what to talk about.
Which
I
means
could
you
just
have exactly 29 and a half days.
I'm
So
just
that
going to pull a
means in
Tim.
29 days, we'll
He's
get
gonna
the
pull a
top.
Tim.
Tim and wait
Yeah.
till the morning of.
Yep.
That was a good topic.
That was fun. Good job.
Thank you, Dave.
My wife asked me today at lunch. She's like, "What's the show about tonight?" I'm not really sure.
He looked at her and said, "Fuck if I know. I'm
I
just
don't
showing
know.
up."
We'll find out when he posts it.
I was literally at work today going, what the fuck? Oh, shit. Oh, here it is. I think we should do this. Yeah, let's do that.
All right,
All right. So
All right,
I'm
everybody,
going to not
it
mess
easy.
this up. I have closing picked.
don't
I'm
fuck
going
it
to
up.
nail this. It's going to be
Don't
great.
fuck it up.
Don't
See you
fuck it
guys
up.
next month.
Don't fuck
All
it
right.
Here we
Later.
go. You got too much pressure.
Don't for Charles, don't for Charles, don't for Charles, game is the real, don't start the game, game is the real, game what is real, don't question me, Dave is about, Dave is out, Dave is about, those everyone, I'm on TV, don't for Charles, don't for Charles, don't for Charles, don't for Charles. Careful what you say or you'll get in bed.